Long before the flash of gold or the jingle of silver coins filled the markets of Siam, people had to find other ways to trade. The earliest form of commerce was barter, a simple and direct exchange of goods. A farmer with an abundance of rice might trade his surplus with a fisherman who had more fish than his family could eat. This system worked well for small communities where everyone knew each other and their needs were straightforward. People would also trade handcrafted items such as pottery, woven baskets, or silk cloth for food, tools, or other necessities. It was a world built on negotiation and the perceived value of what one had to offer versus what one needed to acquire. As trade routes expanded and societies grew more complex, the limitations of the barter system became increasingly clear. Imagine trying to trade a large water buffalo for a small amount of salt. The exchange was not easily divisible. To solve this problem, people began to use intermediary items that everyone agreed had value. These items, known as commodity money, included things like cowrie shells, colorful beads, or blocks of salt. These objects were more portable and easier to count than livestock or large baskets of grain, making transactions smoother and allowing for trade over greater distances. This was a crucial step in the evolution of money, moving beyond simple one-to-one swaps. Eventually, metal became the preferred medium of exchange due to its durability, scarcity, and divisibility. In the lands that would become Thailand, early traders used lumps or bars of common metals like bronze, copper, and iron. These were not coins in the modern sense. They did not have a standardized shape, weight, or official marking from a ruler. Instead, their value was determined purely by their weight and the type of metal. A merchant would carry a small set of scales to weigh the metal for each transaction. This method, while more sophisticated than bartering shells, still required a great deal of effort and trust between the buyer and seller to ensure a fair exchange. This period of pre-monetary exchange laid the essential groundwork for the development of currency. It established the core concepts of value, exchange, and the need for a standardized medium. While gold was known and prized for its beauty and rarity, it was far too precious for these everyday transactions. It was reserved for the adornment of rulers, the creation of religious statues, or as a high-value material stored by the elite. The journey toward a formal currency system had begun, but the path to the first gold coin was still many centuries away, starting with these humble beginnings of bartering rice and weighing lumps of unrefined metal. The first organized kingdoms to emerge in the region, such as the Dvaravati civilization which flourished from the 6th to the 11th centuries, brought with them more structured systems of governance and trade. These kingdoms were influenced by ideas from India, and this included early concepts of coinage. Archaeological discoveries from this period have unearthed the first true coins used in the area. However, these were not made of gold for everyday commerce. The most common coins found are made of silver, or even lead, bearing symbols like a conch shell, a rising sun, or a water pot. These symbols held religious and cultural significance and marked the coins as having an official, accepted value within the kingdom's domain. Gold, during the Dvaravati period, remained a symbol of ultimate power and divinity rather than a tool for the marketplace. It was meticulously worked by skilled artisans into exquisite objects for religious and royal purposes. Archaeologists have found beautiful gold plaques, delicate jewelry, and small votive tablets stamped with Buddhist imagery. These items were not used to buy food or cloth, they were created as offerings for temples, buried with royalty to accompany them into the afterlife, or worn by the highest echelons of society to display their status. The separation between the metal for daily trade, which was silver, and the metal for sacred power, which was gold, was very clear. As trade networks grew, foreign coins also began to circulate in the region. Merchants from India and China brought their own currencies, which were sometimes used in the bustling port cities. This exposure to different monetary systems influenced local rulers, but it did not immediately lead to the creation of a local gold currency. The economic structure did not require it. For large-scale transactions, merchants would still rely on weighing silver or using foreign silver coins. The local economy for the common person was still largely based on barter or the use of low-value coins, making gold currency an unnecessary and impractical concept for the time. The use of precious metals in these early kingdoms set a precedent that would last for centuries. Silver was established as the primary metal for currency, a practical and trusted medium for trade. Gold, on the other hand, was elevated to a near mythical status. Its value was not just economic, but also spiritual and political. This foundational understanding, silver for the market, gold for the palace and the temple, would deeply influence the monetary traditions of the subsequent Thai kingdoms, including Sukhothai and Ayutthaya, shaping the unique story of gold's role in the nation's history long before it was ever struck into a coin for spending. When the Sukhothai kingdom rose to prominence in the 13th century, it brought a new level of organization to the region's economy. However, this did not include the introduction of gold coins for trade. Instead, Sukhothai's most significant monetary innovation was the formalization of a system of weights and the introduction of a unique type of currency known as Pad Duang, or bullet coins. These were made primarily of silver, not gold. The bullet coins were small, thick bars of silver bent into a roundish shape, resembling a curled-up caterpillar. They were stamped with official marks, such as a wheel or an elephant, to guarantee their authenticity and value, making them a trusted form of money across the kingdom. A crucial concept from this era is the baht. Today, the baht is the name of Thailand's currency, like the dollar or the euro. But in the Sukhothai period, a baht was not a coin, it was a unit of weight. This unit was used to measure the value of precious metals, especially silver. 1 baht of silver was equal to approximately 15 grams. So, when people talked about a baht, they were referring to a specific weight of silver, which could be in the form of a bullet coin, or even just a piece of raw metal. This system provided a clear and consistent way to measure value, which was a major advancement over simply weighing metal on personal scales. Gold was certainly present and highly valued in the Sukhothai kingdom, but it continued its role as a marker of wealth and religious devotion, not as money. The famous stone inscriptions of King Ramkhamhaeng describe a prosperous kingdom, but they do not mention gold coins being used in the bustling markets. Instead, gold was used to create magnificent Buddha statues, intricate royal regalia, and beautiful ornaments that decorated palaces and temples. The amount of gold a person or a temple possessed was a direct measure of their wealth and status, but it was wealth held in reserve, not wealth in circulation. It was a store of value, much like owning property today. This system highlights how a sophisticated economy could function without relying on gold as a medium of exchange. The silver bullet coins, standardized by the baht weight system, were perfectly sufficient for all levels of commerce, from local markets to long-distance trade. The common people used smaller units and cowrie shells for minor purchases, while merchants and the nobility used silver bullet coins for larger transactions. Gold remained separate, an object of awe and a symbol of ultimate prestige, but it did not jingle in the pockets of the people. It was a treasure to be guarded, not a coin to be spent. The Ayutthaya kingdom, which succeeded Sukhothai and reigned for over 400 years from 1351 to 1767, became a major hub of international trade. Its capital was one of the world's great cities, attracting merchants from China, Japan, India, Persia, and Europe. This vibrant commercial environment required a reliable currency, and Ayutthaya continued and expanded the use of silver Pad Duang or bullet coins. These coins were the backbone of the economy, used for everything from paying soldiers' salaries and collecting taxes to buying exotic goods from foreign traders. The system was highly organized, with different sizes and weights of bullet coins corresponding to different values, all based on the baht measurement. Just as in previous eras, gold in Ayutthaya was reserved for the highest levels of society and religion. The kingdom was immensely wealthy, and its rulers and nobles displayed this wealth through the lavish use of gold. Palaces were said to have golden spires, and Buddha images were cast in solid gold or covered in gold leaf. The most famous example is the golden Buddha of Wat Trimit, which was covered in plaster for centuries to hide its true value. These incredible works of art were symbols of the king's divine authority and the kingdom's prosperity, but they were not part of the monetary system. They were state and religious treasures, not currency. While silver bullet coins were the standard, very rare gold bullet coins were also produced during the Ayutthaya period. However, these were not intended for general circulation. They were created for special ceremonial purposes. A king might distribute these gold coins as gifts to high-ranking officials, foreign envoys, or members of the royal family to commemorate a special event, such as a coronation or a military victory. Receiving a gold bullet coin was a sign of immense royal favor. These coins were more like medals or commemorative tokens than money for buying goods. Their value was symbolic and prestigious, far exceeding their simple, metallic worth. For the vast majority of people living in the Ayutthaya kingdom, a gold coin was something they would likely never see, let alone use. Their financial world revolved around silver bullet coins, smaller denomination currencies, and the age-old practice of barter for local needs. The strict separation between silver for commerce and gold for ceremony and status was a defining feature of the Ayutthaya economy. This long-standing tradition meant that even in one of the most prosperous trading empires in Southeast Asia, the idea of a standardized gold coin for public use had not yet taken hold. Gold's place was firmly in the treasury, not the marketplace. Following the fall of Ayutthaya in 1767 and a brief period under the Thonburi Kingdom, the Ratanakosin period began in 1782 with the founding of Bangkok as the new capital. For the first few decades, the monetary system remained largely unchanged. The new dynasty continued to produce silver bullet coins, or pod duong in the traditional way, by hand. These coins were essential for re-establishing economic stability and funding the new kingdom's administration and defense. Gold, too, maintained its traditional role. It was used to build the magnificent Grand Palace and the Temple of the Emerald Buddha, showcasing the new dynasty's power and piety, but it was not minted into currency for trade. The mid-19th century brought immense change. Increased contact and trade with Western nations introduced new technologies and ideas to Siam. King Mongkut, or Rama IV, and his successor, King Chulalongkorn, or Rama V, were visionary monarchs who sought to modernize the nation to maintain its independence. A key part of this modernization was reforming the currency. The handmade bullet coins were slow to produce and easy to counterfeit. To create a more efficient and secure monetary system, Siam imported its first steam-powered coining press from Europe in the 1850s. This marked the beginning of the end for the centuries-old bullet coin. The first machine-minted coins produced in Siam were not gold. The initial focus was on creating a modern currency for everyday use that could replace the cumbersome bullet coins and cowrie shells. The new mint began producing flat, round coins made of copper, tin, and silver. These coins featured standardized designs, often including a portrait of the monarch or royal emblems like the crown. This was a revolutionary change. For the first time, Siam had a currency that looked similar to the coins used in Europe and America, which facilitated international trade and demonstrated the kingdom's progress on the world stage. Despite this massive leap forward in minting technology, gold coins were still not part of the plan for general circulation. The government's priority was to establish a stable and practical currency for the entire population. Silver remained the metal of choice for higher-value coins, while copper and tin served the need for small change. Gold was still seen as a reserve asset, a store of immense wealth for the state treasury, and a material for royal and religious objects. The new machines could have easily produced gold coins, but the economic and social tradition of keeping gold out of circulation was still deeply ingrained. The stage was set, but the final step had not yet been taken. The turning point in Thailand's long history with gold finally arrived during the reign of King Chulalongkorn, also known as Rama V. This era, from 1868 to 1910, was a period of profound transformation for Siam. As part of his sweeping reforms to modernize the country's legal, administrative, and financial systems, King Rama V turned his attention to fully standardizing the currency. He wanted to align Siam's monetary system with the international gold standard, which was, the dominant global financial system at the time. To do this, Siam needed its own official gold coin that had a fixed value in relation to its silver and paper currency. This was, honestly, a radical departure from centuries of tradition. In 1908, a royal decree was issued authorizing the minting of Siam's first-ever standardized gold coin intended as legal tender. This coin was called the Thot, and it was valued at 10 baht. The design of the coin was symbolic of the modern era. On one side, it featured a striking portrait of King Chulalongkorn in his official uniform, looking to the side. On the other side, it displayed the magnificent coat of arms of Siam, featuring the three-headed elephant, a symbol of the nation. The coin was beautifully crafted, uniform in size and weight, and represented Siam's entry into the modern global economy. The introduction of the gold Thot was a monumental event, but it did not mean that gold coins suddenly became common in everyday life. These coins had a very high value, A single 10 baht gold coin was a significant amount of money at the time, far more than a typical person would need for daily expenses. Therefore, their circulation remained limited. They were primarily used for large commercial transactions, international trade payments, and by banks and the government. They served as a high-tier currency, backing the value of the more commonly used silver coins and the newly introduced paper banknotes. The minting of the gold tot under King Rama V was more than just an economic decision. It was a powerful political statement. It signaled to the world, particularly to the colonial powers of Britain and France, that Siam was a sovereign, modern nation with a sophisticated financial system on par with their own. By adopting the gold standard and issuing its own gold coin, Siam asserted its place as an equal on the international stage. This single act encapsulated the kingdom's successful journey of reform, blending its rich heritage with the demands of the modern world, and finally giving gold an official, though limited role in its currency. The era of the gold coin as an active part of Thailand's monetary system was surprisingly brief. The gold tot of 1908 marked a peak, but global events would soon render the gold standard obsolete. The outbreak of World War I in 1914 caused massive economic disruption worldwide. Many countries, including the major European powers, suspended the gold standard to finance their war efforts, printing money that was no longer backed by a fixed amount of gold. This global shift fundamentally changed the international financial landscape, and the rationale for maintaining a gold-backed currency in Siam began to weaken. Following the war, the world struggled with economic instability, culminating in the Great Depression of the 1930s. During this time, most of the world's nations permanently abandoned the gold standard. It became, well, impractical to tie the value of a nation's currency directly to its gold reserves when economies needed more flexibility to respond to financial crises. Thailand, like other countries, followed this trend. The government officially moved away from the gold standard, and the focus of the monetary system shifted entirely to fiat currency. Paper banknotes and coins made of less precious metals, whose value was guaranteed by the government, not by their metallic content. With this shift, the production of gold coins for circulation ceased. The gold tot and other similar high-value coins were withdrawn from active use and became historical artifacts. The primary forms of money became paper banknotes for larger denominations and coins made of nickel, bronze, and other alloys for smaller values. This is the system that remains in place today. Gold's role in the economy reverted to what it had been for centuries, a store of value. The royal treasury continued to hold gold reserves as a national asset to back the country's financial stability, but it was no longer directly linked to the money people used every day. This transition marked the final chapter in the story of gold as functional money in Thailand. Its brief 70-year journey from being purely ceremonial to becoming the pinnacle of the monetary system, and then back to being a reserve asset, was complete. The convenience, flexibility, and control offered by fiat currency were better suited to the complexities of a 20th century economy. The dream of a golden age of commerce, where gold coins were traded in the markets, had passed, giving way to the practical reality of paper and base metal money. Gold had not lost its value, but its job as currency was over. In contemporary Thailand, gold coins have found a new and vibrant purpose, completely separate from their brief history as circulating currency. Today, the Royal Thai Mint produces a variety of gold coins, but they are created as commemorative items, not for spending at the local market. These coins are issued to celebrate significant national events, royal milestones, or important anniversaries. Examples include coins minted for a king's jubilee, a special royal birthday, or the centenary of a national institution like a university or a bank. These are collector's items designed to preserve a moment in history for future generations. The value of these modern gold coins is multi-layered. They have a face value denominated in Baht, which is legally their value as money, but this is purely symbolic. Their real value comes from two other sources, their bullion value and their numismatic value. The bullion value is the worth of the gold metal itself, based on its weight, purity, and the current market price of gold. The numismatic value is the value to a collector, which can be much higher than the metal's worth. This value is determined by the coin's rarity, its historical significance, its condition, and the beauty of its design. For this reason, these coins are highly sought after by collectors both in Thailand and internationally. These commemorative gold coins are works of art in their own right. They are struck with incredible precision using modern minting techniques, resulting in detailed and often intricate designs. They typically feature a portrait of a member of the royal family on one side, and a design related to the event being celebrated on the other. They are sold by the Treasury Department or authorized dealers, and often come in elegant presentation boxes with a certificate of authenticity. Owning one is a source of national pride for many Thais, representing a connection to their country's heritage and the monarchy. Therefore, while you will not see anyone paying for their groceries with a gold coin, gold is more visible, in a numismatic sense, than ever before. It serves as a precious metal that honors and remembers. This modern role brings the story of gold in Thailand full circle. For centuries, it was a material for sacred and royal objects. After a brief period as currency, it has returned to a similar function, creating beautiful, valuable objects that celebrate the most important aspects of the nation's culture and history. Gold's journey shows its enduring power, not as money, but as a timeless symbol of value, prestige, and memory. The story of gold in Thailand is a fascinating journey that mirrors the nation's own development from ancient kingdoms to a modern state. It began in an era of simple barter, where goods were exchanged directly, and slowly evolved to using commodity money like shells and beads. Metals like iron and copper were then used, valued by weight, but gold was always set apart. It was too precious for the rough and tumble of the marketplace, reserved instead as a symbol of divine power and royal authority. This established a deep-rooted cultural perception of gold that would last for a millennium. Through the great kingdoms of Dvaravati, Sukhothai, and Ayutthaya, this principle held firm. While silver became the metal of choice for currency, first as unmarked pieces and later as the famous Pod Duang or bullet coins, gold remained in the treasuries and temples. It was fashioned into magnificent Buddha statues, elaborate royal crowns, and ceremonial gifts for the elite. The baht began its life not as a coin, but as a unit of weight for silver, creating a standardized system that fueled centuries of regional and international trade. For the common person, money was silver, tin, or copper. Gold was the stuff of legends. The push toward modernity in the Ratanakosin period, especially under the visionary leadership of King Rama V, finally changed gold's role. The introduction of machine minting brought flat, modern coins to Siam, but it was the landmark year of 1908 that saw the creation of the first official gold coin, the Thot. This was a monumental step, aligning Siam with the international gold standard and asserting its sovereignty. However, this era was short-lived. Global economic shifts after World War I led to the abandonment of the gold standard, and Thailand, like the rest of the world, transitioned to a fiat currency system of paper notes and base metal coins. Today, gold has returned to a ceremonial and commemorative role, albeit a modern one. It is no longer money but is minted into beautiful collector's coins that celebrate the nation's most cherished institutions and historical moments. This journey, from a sacred treasure to a high-value currency and back to a symbol of heritage, highlights gold's enduring and adaptable significance. The following